Le pregunté su nombre. Le pedí su número. Pregunté dónde estaba. Pedí ayuda. In English, all four can use the same verb, ask. But in Spanish, you have to choose between preguntar and pedir. So what's the difference? It's actually very, very simple, and we'll see. Amigas y amigos, welcome back. This is Profe Juan, and today we're going to learn how to ask things, ask for something. And look at these two sentences to explain, the whole idea. Pregunté su nombre. I asked his name or her name. Pedí su número. I asked for his name, his number, or her number. And here's the difference. You would use preguntar if you want information. You would use pedir if you want something, specifically something. And that's the core of the entire lesson. If you want an answer, preguntar. If you want to receive something, pedir. Simple. Now let's see where learners get confused, okay? Vamos. So, imagine you meet someone. You're going to the bar, you're like, you want to know their name. Le pregunté su nombre. I asked his or her name. What do you want from that person exactly? Information, and that's preguntar. We have more examples, like preguntar la hora, asking for the time. Le pregunté dónde vivía. I asked him or her where he or him lived, Preguntamos cuánto costaba. We asked how much it cost. In every single case, you're missing information and you're asking someone to give you that information. That's why question words naturally appear with preguntar. Those pronouns, interrogative pronouns. ¿Qué? ¿Quién? ¿Cuándo? ¿Dónde? ¿Cómo? ¿Por qué? ¿Cuánto? For example, pregunté ¿cuándo empezaba la clase? I asked when the class started. You want to know something, so you would use preguntar. And of course, interrogative pronouns, question marks, the whole pack. But now imagine you don't want information, you want the person to actually give you something. In this case, Spanish changes verbs. You're at a restaurant. You say, pedí una pizza. I ordered a pizza. The waiter isn't giving you information about a pizza. You want the pizza itself, and that's pedir. Pedí un café. Pido un café. I order a coffee. Pido ayuda. I ask for help. Le pedí dinero. I asked him for money. Hey, pedimos la cuenta. We ask for the bill. You have a physical object. You're requesting that specific object. Notice how English changes order, ask for, request. Spanish can use the same verb. Of course, pedir. Te pido un café. Te pido una pizza. Because the central idea is the same. You want to receive something. But something doesn't have to be a physical object. You can also ask someone to do something. And look at this. Le pedí que viniera. I asked her to come. You're asking, well, actually, you aren't asking, are you coming? That's a question. You are requesting an action. That's why Spanish uses pedir. Compare with, le pregunté si venía. I asked her if she was coming. That's information. Le pedí que viniera. I asked her to come. And that's a request. That's even a little rude. And that's the difference. And this contrast is extremely important. You'll see it. But let me give you another example so I can illustrate this better. Le pregunté si podía ayudarme. I asked if he could help me. You're asking a question. You want an answer. Now, le pedí que me ayudara. I asked him to help me. And you're requesting the action itself. Same English verb, to ask. Completely different Spanish verbs. There's also an important grammar pattern here. When you ask another person to do something, Spanish commonly uses pedir que plus a subjunctive. Yeah, I know the subjunctive, chill. Le pedí, in the past, que esperara. I asked him to wait. Me pidió, in the past, que llegara temprano. She asked me to arrive early. Nos pidieron que habláramos más despacio. They asked us to speak more slowly. Why the subjunctive? Because you're trying to influence what another person does. The action isn't simply being presented as a fact. You're requesting it. So learn this structure together. Pedir que plus subjunctive. Now, there is another difference that English hides. Look at what happens when we add a person. Look, le pregunté a Juan. I asked Juan. And le pedí ayuda a Juan. I asked Juan for help. Both can use le because Juan is the person you're addressing. But what comes after the verb changes. It changes, and look at this. With preguntar, le pregunté la dirección. I asked him the address information. With pedir, le pedí la dirección. I asked him for the address. And here's where things get interesting. These two sentences can be extremely close in meaning, but the perspective is slightly different. Preguntar la dirección focuses on asking for information. Pedir la dirección focuses on requesting that information from someone, And actually, in many real conversations, context makes the intent meaning obvious, But the basic distinction still helps. Preguntar focuses on the question, pedir focuses on the request. And you already know this. By now, you're like, that's easy. Here's an easy way to feel that difference. Imagine you're in a restaurant, an Italian restaurant. You want to know how much is a steak. You would ask, tú preguntas. Yo pregunté cuánto costaba el filete. You want information. Now, you decide you want the steak. You would use pedir. Pedí el filete. So, te pregunto, ¿cuánto cuesta el filete? Ok. ¿me puedes dar un filete, por favor? You want the same thing. Now, I mean, you want the waiter to bring you, in this case, a steak with pedir. ¿Sí? Preguntar information, pedir the actual steak. Muy bien. One situation, many different cases. It's very interesting, okay? But now, let's talk about common mistakes, amigos, because this is very common, to mix, let's see. Because many learners like you usually say, pregunté un café. Because this is very common, this is very natural. If you're ordering a coffee. But in this case, and you already know this, you don't want information, you want the coffee. Pido un café, pedí un café, te pido un café, por favor. And another important contrast. Pregunté por Juan, I asked about Juan, I asked for Juan. Versus, le pedí algo a Juan, I asked Juan for something. Be careful with preguntar por. Here, por introduces the person or thing you're asking about. Pregunté por María, I asked about María. And that's different from requesting something from María. One English verb, two Spanish ideas, attention here, attention here. This is why translating as equals to preguntar doesn't work. English uses as for two different actions. You can ask a question or you can ask for something. The Spanish separates them. If I need to know something, I would use preguntar. Pregunté la hora, dónde vivía, si venía. But if I want something, I would use pedir. Pedí ayuda, pedí un café, le pedí que viniera. Once you make that distinction, you don't need to memorize individual situations. So, to finish with a recap, English gives you one very flexible verb, ask. Spanish makes you choose. If you want information, you would use preguntar. If you're requesting something, you would use pedir. And if you're requesting an action, pedir que plus subjunctive. So don't ask yourself, how do I say ask? Ask yourself, do I want information or do I want something? That tells you which Spanish verb you need. But now it's your turn. Write one sentence using either pedir or preguntar. I mean, you could ask for anything. Just one sentence is more than enough. I'll read it, I'll correct it if you need. If not, I'm gonna be just like, haha, great job, and maybe we can gossip a little bit, you know. But ojo, if this helped you understand pedir versus preguntar, like the video, subscribe. Amigo, amiga, te pido que te suscribas. Dale click al botón de la suscripción, and I'll see you in the next lesson. Chao, chao.